Video games are not just entertainment, and it's not just for people who don't want to grow up, and it certainly won't have any negative impacts on young people. Why? Because it is an art form. Let's talk about what art is. For example, when we talk about art, the first thing that we think of is books, literature, art, painting, drawings, and music, musicals, opera, and to some extent, drama. Things like that are what we consider art. And we don't condemn people for really immersing themselves and really spending time on um, watching operas, right? When we listen to classical music, no one will accuse you of being a, uh, you know, useless person who's just wasting their time entertaining themselves, right? And if I like to read War and Peace, and if I like to read some really hard literature from some really big authors, and I do it for months on end, for hundreds of hours, and you just won't accuse me of wasting my time because I am reading something that is considered art. And the opposite, you will even think that I'm a really educated and cultured person just for doing that, right? But it's not the same for video games. When people play video games too much, you'll often be accused of like wasting your time, like you're just being immature and don't want to grow up. Now, I'm not defending this because I am a gamer. I don't play games, honestly, because my PC can't play any games at all, and I'm using a Mac here, so I can't really play games, and I don't really play games, even if I can. So I'm just saying that I really appreciate video games because there are really it really puts every art form together. It is an ascension of art. For example, when we read literatures, we immerse ourselves in the stories and we learn things from the characters. And we get things that we won't get in real life because we follow a fictional story and we really like go through it as the characters themselves. We experience what they experience. And when we are like listening to classical music, we are really immersing ourselves in some art form, and it really represents the times when these people write those tunes. And by playing it with an orchestra, it is really a experience for your ears and your eyes, right? And when we watch operas, when we watch dramas, we see people acting. We see them doing something that is showing emotions, showing a story in front of our eyes instead of we reading a story. And they really bring the emotions into it and it amplifies how the story works. And these are skills. Playing music is a skill, writing a story is a skill, and acting out emotions is a skill. Singing is a skill if you're watching operas and musicals. And guess what? A video game has all of those inside. You have to write a story that is captivating, and some big games, some really famous and good games, have stories that are really deep. It doesn't really pale when it compares to big literatures, and you can really learn a lot of things from some games with great stories. And then we have art, we have drawing, paintings, we have the form of making something out of nothing, making something visual out of nothing. You have to design your characters, you have to design the world, what they wear, the landscape. It's really the form of a form of creation, like when you're drawing the landscape, when you are drawing trees, when you're designing some characters that doesn't exist in real life, and you're referencing to which era you are depicting, and you're re, you're really referencing how real people look, and then transcribing that reality into a visual world. That's the art of visual creation, like drawing and painting. And then you have music. You have to make captivating music and use the music to enhance the whole emotional impact of the story. It's like making, because most game music are orchestral, and it's really like classical music, honestly. Some people even say that classical music from the Romance era is now living in film music and game music. So I guess this is even some game music can even be called forms of classical music. And honestly, many game music, the majority of game music is better than what we are getting from the radio, pop music, because it doesn't come out from a template. It is something that you really have to create and long, and is designed to create emotion, but not from a template and vain words, because game music most often don't have words. It's really like classical music, a form of absolute music. And then we have acting. We have voice actors, which then is like they're really acting out a drama and acting out an opera musical if they have to sing. It's like they have to bring the emotions into the characters themselves, just like they are doing on the stage when they're performing a drama. It's like, if I say it like this, you'll really realize that video games are really all of these combined, and it is really a greater form of art of our times, really. Because without technology, there's no way that we can create something like this. Because even if we are in the greatest um, peak era of art from 200 years ago, then they won't have the technology to really combine all these together. But with technology, we can do that these days. And video games is exactly what this is: a combination with technology, and a combination of all arts into one form of like the best of the best art of our times. If anybody is saying that video game is just for entertainment, and it is not really, honestly, in Eastern countries, many older people really despise games because they think they are just an entertainment that really distracts kids and young people from studying and really doing their thing. And to me, that's not the case. I think if you don't really get addicted to it, then you are just playing it as a form of really appreciating the art. Like, addiction is bad, whatever you're addicting to. For example, you can addict yourself to reading novels and literatures and really waste your time away just by reading things and not doing anything. You can waste your time listening to classical music and not do anything. You can waste your time in watching dramas and operas and not do anything, right? So addiction is bad, but video games themselves is really not the problem. And the problem lies in the individual. And I think most individuals don't get an addiction just by playing a video game. So that's it. That's all I have to say. And remember, video games are great. They are the best art form that we have in our times.